Hello again. Lots of comments about the CV writing video that I made yesterday, was it? Or the day before? And yeah, you're all right. It's just the way I do it. Just a quick recap. Numbers 1 through 8 are important. You can't mess with 7. If you do mess with 8, you're starting again. That's a quick summary. Somebody talked to me about, well, how do you make the trains stop in the same place? I don't mind if they don't stop in the same place, so long as they stop within the parameters of the platform. In some ways, that makes it more interesting because one train will stop here, another one there, but they're all fitting in the platform. And the underground trains, it's a little more critical because they are quite fussy about where they stop, aren't they? Anyway, today I thought I'd get on with that transformer. A couple of things before I just slap a fence around it. It's new. It does need a little more weathering, and I do see something got dripped on it. I don't know what that is. Maybe glue. I found these. Now, before we go any further, what I really need is a 3D printer. I know, but I don't have a 3D printer. So this is a ratio, I thought they were brown. It's actually good they're not. They look a bit concretey. Now here's the thing. If I lift that transformer out of there, whoop, it looks like a country scene with a works hut shed. Put that in there and everything changes. So either this is out of place or we haven't created the whole scene. Now these things, let me just take one of these out of the packet here. This is a fencing kit. There's a couple of gates and who knows what. I believe, I wonder what that part is. There, look. Let me just get it out first. I wonder what that part is for. Looks like a letterbox, is it? No, it's a rather clever gate. Standpipe. Well, that's not what we're looking for. So normally you put these in the ground and stretch wires between them and it makes a fence. But if I were to cut these down, let's say cut them in half and poke them alongside the track with hooks in them, and then hang some, this is that aluminium or aluminum wire. It bends very easily, but it stays where it's put. It's a little bit shiny for me, but I think everything's going to end up with a coating of dust all over it. But if I straighten that out, you see what I mean? Now, if we hang those, 2 or 3 of those along the side, it will look like the cables that are prolific around underground lines. So what I need to do is come up with a way of making the hooks that go on these things. Yes, I'm looking. There's a few of these. There's a few. How many are? Well, I think, again, I believe there may be other ways to do this, but this might work. Let me cut one of those off and give it a go. All right, let's have a look, see what we can do here. If I cut a piece of this galvanized wire off, just a little piece, you can tell I haven't been doing electronics work. Look how dry that sponge is. I'll want that later, you see. The one thing bad about aluminium wire is that you can't solder it without significant effort. Let's get a mat up here. Cutting mat. There's signals everywhere because that's the next project on my list. I just want one of these to see, does it work? Let's take one out. Come on. You know you want to. Never been a big one for Airfix models. I've had a few and have made a few. The very first one I really oh, look, I see I've sliced that, but doesn't matter because we're going to cut it in half anyway. So what is half? 1, 2, 3 holes. If I cut there, something like that. That has 3 holes on it too. There we go, something like that. Now it's too low for a fence post. What I'm concerned about is they might just look like fence posts when I'm finished. So Airfix kits, yes. Remember making a model of the Apollo lunar module, and I did a reasonable job of making the thing. I'd been in hospital, and I think it was a gift when I came out of hospital. I'd been there a few days, and when I came out, it was a gift. And so I proudly made this thing up in the attic. We had a house, there were a lot of kids in our family, and so I can't find that piece of wire, so I'm going to cut myself another piece. I bet it's hiding underneath somewhere. I made this, you see, and I cut it and immediately find the other one. Oh well. So I made this lunar module, and I was quite proud of the thing. But I mean, looking back at it, there was glue all over the place, and the lesson I learned is paint the thing before you glue it together. I'd have been about, I don't know, must have been 9, I suppose, 9 or 10. It was before I went to secondary school. So I was given the paints. I begged my parents for the paints, and they gave me the little pots of Umbral paint, and there was a silver paint, and I stirred it with things, then put it down and painted very carefully. To me it looked lovely, but I'm sure it was a ridiculous mess looking back at it. But what happened was that I got the paint all over me, and I didn't realize it was all over me, and I was still a little bit woozy from being in hospital. I went to sleep, and I must have touched my face, and I got silver enamel paint everywhere silver enamel paint could go, including up a nostril. I had clearly picked my nose with paint on one end of a finger. So yes, it wasn't, didn't end well, let's put it that way. My mother was really the model maker in our house. She was very good at it. I remember my father had a go. He made an Airfix tank locomotive. I really only got a minor glimpse of it, and I thought, oh, I know what I'm getting for Christmas. And I had no idea that the thing would never actually work. It was just, by this time I was into Hornby trains. I had 3 Pullman carriages. They were the only carriages I had. 3 Pullman carriages pulled by Polly. The original, not the recent ridiculous release. What I'm trying to do here is make a hook that isn't 3 miles wide. Well, it doesn't need to bend up, does it? Let's have a look at where I'm going to poke it. If I pop that through the hole. I was trying to make a U. I've just put a right angle bend in it. What I'm trying to do here is poke it through one of the holes. Of course I could put the other end through, it'd be a whole lot easier. May have to. There we go. Now if I can get that to stay in place. Does that look about right? We'll never know, will we? How I'm going to keep them in place. Huh. Well, we'll have another play with it. Yeah, so my father made a 060 Airfix, I'm sure it was 060, Airfix kit locomotive, and I mean, I only got a glimpse of it, and I thought, oh, that's a Christmas present, it's coming my way. But it wasn't. It was not intended for me at all, or anybody in our family at all. I think it might have been, had it not been so delicate and I'd not been so rough. But it wound up being a prize for somebody in a competition. He was a preacher, and it was for the one of the clubs at church, I think. I never saw it though. So yeah, but my mum was very good at, I mean, she would be doing this kind of thing. Now, did that work? So what I've got now, I could probably use staples, couldn't I? Where is it? I've lost it. There it is. So if I poke the folded part, who knew it'd be magnetic? Where's my tweezers? I'm not struggling with this anymore. Get the tweezers out. I've got 2 fat fingers. What was I doing today? I got all mucky again. Now let's shove this in the hole here. So I'm just going to try and poke this. Well, now I need pliers. You can't push with tweezers. Yeah, my mum built a fort for one of my brothers, and a dollhouse for another one, and a garage for another one. I don't remember what I had. But yeah, very, very creative. And my dad, not so much. He tried. Now, I'm messing this up, but I'm going to persist. Does it go in? It sort of kind of does. So you can jam it in. I've got to straighten it up a bit. Nip that bottom piece off. Sorry for those of you watching on TVs. I know that's the majority of you, apparently. You had that great big shot of my ugly thumb, not much else. Yeah, so model making in our house was my mother, my younger brother, one of my younger brothers. Oh, they're all younger than me. I'm the eldest. One of my younger brothers, second youngest, is now into trains. For a short time, there was some N-gauge kicking around the house at the same time. Now it's come out. We're going to have to work on this. There was some N-gauge kicking around the house. I'm not sure whose that was. I had left home before it arrived. But mostly, I think it's myself and my brother, the Undertaker brother. Right, we're going to start again. Who are into trains, and he doesn't have a layout. I think he did at one point, and his son, I know, is into trains big time. So it's not just me, but actual models. So from arts and craft, I am the least of the, I'm a mere mortal. My sister is phenomenal. You give her a bag full of rubbish and she will come up with something with it that you go, well, why didn't I think of that? Lolly sticks or matchsticks or you name it. Every kind of crocheting and anything. So she's incredibly creative. I'm just persistent. Right, so now you can, it seems, jam a folded piece of wire in there quite successfully. I now need to cut one of the legs off. Snip. Got it. And now if I put a bend in it, using a pair of pliers, it's going to be too big with these pliers, they're too big. Have I got anything smaller? I don't think I do. Ouch! Yes, I stabbed my thumb pushing on the end of it. You've got tools, you've got them right there in your hand. Now I've got a hole in the end of my thumb. I think there's probably rules about showing such things on YouTube, isn't there? All right. Ow. Now we can reshape said hook. That's sore, and it's not quite square either. Well, there's a hook and a fence post. Let me see if there's another way of doing this. If I can come up with even a minor representation, I shall be happy. Now, found that these pliers, although they're useless as pliers, have the smallest pointy, and so make the smallest hooky. I am not falling for that. No, I'm not falling for that. I'm going to use the other pair of pliers to fold the wire over, because if I use my thumb, I shall end up with yet another hole in my body. It's like a friend of mine, when I was at sea, we often had to fill out applications for visas. Every now and again. As seamen, you usually don't, but there were occasions when we did. And he wrote on, it said, it was identifying marks, it said tattoos, and he'd listed whatever he had, and then it said piercings, and he said none intentional, which I thought was kind of funny. Let me hold this so you can see what I'm up to. You would end up with a post with a couple of hooks on it, which don't look like hooks right now, for the cables to hang on. We've got to do better than that. So I've got to come up with a better way of doing it if I'm going to use these posts. Well, one punctured thumb later, a few bits of bent wire, and the blindingly obvious is still sitting on the bench. I showed you the aluminum or aluminium wire. Why don't I just use that? It's the right size, so it's difficult to get into the hole, which is perfect. See? And if I just bend a hook on the other end of that, so we'll just do that with these pliers, wasn't it? And it'll bend much easier being, yeah, look at that. Straight away, bendy, bendy. Copious amounts of paint are going to need to be involved in this game, I think. There we go. Easy as that. Just do that 3 more times. I'm going to snip that piece on the end off, just to see. Yeah. Looks like a hook to me. Let's cut the back off, and then we're going to take the hook out. Does it look right? Well, it looks about right, doesn't it? So now if I take the hook out and replicate that about 1,000 times, no, but you know what I mean, and multiple times, this little project has to be repeatable and easy to do. So what I'm looking for then is a whole bunch of those. So let's get on with it. Little bend on the end. Very easy. And how long does it need to be? We'll come up with a set length. That length. I'm eyeballing. There we go. One made, two made. Let's do one more. A bit of a burr on the end of that one. Very soft. It's aluminium, of course it's soft. Right, there's 3 hooks, 3 holes. Let's poke 3 hooks through 3 holes and see what it looks like. Come on, don't start messing with me now. You went in before. One. Come on. You know you want to. 2. And 3. Why am I using the template? Because I really don't think I'm actually going to do it this way. We might, we'll see. Now we're going to turn that up that way, push down on the plastic so that they're all sticking through to the same amount. Then straighten them up. 1 hook, 2 hooks. Does it look even close? Hooks are a little long. A pair of cutters will sort out the length, won't it? I think that would work. Let me show you. Oops, one more stray piece of... All right. I'll put it on the back of my hand so you can see it. There we go. It's not horrible. So if I stuck that on the ground and ran some cables through that, let me run these through it. You can use other colors than just black. There we go. I think it would look about right. But is it the way to do it? 3D printing is clearly the way to go. I'm going to get online and have a look, see is anybody actually offering such a thing. There we go, just to show you can actually make them yourself. They look all right. Bit of dust and dirt over them. And so they would carry the cables alongside the track. So am I going to do it that way? I don't know. It's a thought. I've got lots of bits of wire that I'm about to throw in the trash. I've got the bits to do that. That's the reason I would do it that way. I have the parts and I'm all about using what I have. Well, it's amazing how long I've spent puncturing my thumb and not getting to the fence around the transformer at all. Oh well, we'll just have to break this into two parts. There'll be another video up there, and subscribe over here. We'll be back with you tomorrow. So, 2 for the price of 1. I'll see you tomorrow.